You already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ RichieSkye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea. Y'all, Kandi and Tamar ain't gonna ever be able to get right. They just ain't gonna ever be able to get right. I don't know whose fault that is. I mean, I have my own speculations. Let me know what you guys think. But let's get into where we are now, right? So you guys may remember when it had resurfaced, or it had surfaced, that Tamar had done, we don't know if it was a podcast, there was some recording of her talking about, nobody's talking about, let's go to old lady gang. Nobody's saying that. Y'all remember that, right? So after that, then, apparently Tamar came out and said that, oh, this was something that was 3 years ago. It was never supposed to be released. Kandi shouldn't respond, yada, yada, yada. And for the most part, Kandi had not responded until now. So Kandi was doing an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and it was actually brought up. Let's get into it.
You can, invite Tamar on to...
You will not be bringing her in my interview.
She said, you will not be bringing her up in my interview. Okay? Not. For those of you guys who don't recall, this is what was said.
Nobody is saying, yo, where we going to go eat? Let's just go to old lady gang. Who?
So that was what was said. And here is Kandi's response.
Can you believe that she's still on you?
I'm not playing games with clowns. Like, I'm not gonna be in the circus with you, sweetheart. Like, we're not doing that ever again.
Love that.
I mean, I think that's really the appropriate response to... I mean, it was one of those situations where she couldn't really get out of that one. There was no real swerve for that, other than, I'm not getting into this. Not doing it no more. Not doing it. Because it's a road to nowhere. It's a road to nowhere. Some people just will never mix. And I think that's just going to be the case for Tamar and Kandi, both of whom have been in the news this week quite a bit. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So, what do you guys think? Whose side are you on in this situation? Let us know your comments down below. All right. Let's move on to Drew and Ralph. What's going on with Drew and Ralph? Well, on the day of Drew's album release, shout out to our friends over at Housewives of ATL, we discovered that Ralph has put some information out there. He says, stop thinking everything you hear is true. By the end of this, people will owe me an apology, and I want it by Monday. By Monday? How are we going to get it by Monday? Is it something that's happening in an episode that we're going to see that's happening this week that's going to lead us to having a different take on this situation? I mean, and for the most part, what is your take on the situation between Drew and Ralph? Here's what Ralph has to say. He says, since Drew publicized sensitive information surrounding our divorce on Real Housewives of Atlanta, I need to provide facts and complete details, as the blogs are now spreading false and incomplete information. 1, the judge ordered that I move to the basement due to false allegations. All right, so we're not necessarily sure what those allegations are, but we do know that it is a fact that the judge did order him to move to the basement. Let's put the alleged badge up here just for the sake of allegations. Let us proceed. The judge ordered that I continue to pay all costs associated with the home and all vehicles, which I have paid for over 10 years. Well, I mean, I'm assuming that if you're going to be remaining in the house and as we will read later, that he does not want to leave the situation with his kids. Well, let's come back to this. All right. Number 3, the judge ordered that Drew has temporary primary custody of the kids. So that would be possibly a reason why he would want to stay in the house and be relegated to the basement in order to stay in constant contact and in the surroundings with the kids. That could be, right? 4, he has no idea where this asinine request for child support or alimony came from. It's not true, and you can't believe everything that you hear. So he is saying that, contrary to what Drew may have indicated, that he is not asking for child support or alimony. That's, at least from this statement, what I gather. Unless there's something in that statement that is somewhat not true. Or a part of it's not true, right? Because sometimes you have to read between the lines and you have to look at the line by line and see what the line is actually saying. Number 5, the reason I'm in the house is because my kids mean the world to me and I refuse to lose access to them like many other dads. Right now, I see them every day. If I left, I can only see them every other weekend. So that kind of goes back to point number 2, which I would wonder if they're connected. If the judge is saying, well, if you're deciding to stay in the house, then you need to keep the same system that was in effect when you were actually present and in the bedroom with the wife. I'm wondering if that's the reason for the judge indicating that you are to continue with the same lifestyle as it has been provided in that situation. But I don't know. I'm not in that system. Number 6, as details of our 2-year divorce are being made public, I'm taking the liberty to support men and families as they navigate unfortunate circumstances via my YouTube channel. I've learned a lot throughout this journey and sharing my experiences. Subscribe as it will be valuable and entertaining. Lastly, I don't have any animosity towards Drew. I'm still taking care of her, my family, and have taken care of her family for over our 10-year marriage, regardless if she acknowledges or not. Put some respect on my name. So that's Ralph's stance on this entire situation. Let me know what you think. I mean, listen, if there are things that are being stated about the marriage on the show and he does not have the voice, then I can understand why he wants to put these things out there. It was just funny that the timing of it was the day of her album release. So speaking of that album, let's talk about that because we have not had a chance to really dive into it. Drew's album, I Did It To Me, is actually out now. All right. And so this is the back of the album. And I wanted to kind of review for you the songs on the album, my thoughts about it, and what I see happening now. I'm super excited about. So when I first heard the album, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to go back. I got 5 on it. I feel like definitely should have been placed on the album, but because it does contain a sample, it makes me wonder if they had the clearance to really utilize it and put it on an album like this in terms of her body of work and whether and how that worked, right? I would imagine that they would not want to include it on the album if they're going the independent route and they're trying to make as much money from this as possible. You don't want to be giving a lot of that money to a clearance for a sample, especially a popular sample like that. Now let's get into the album itself. And by the way, I Got 5 on it because I felt like it was a great, like, hard-hitting, boom, like, introduction, like, here I am. And then let's now discuss where we are in terms of the album itself and the singles that have been put out there. All right, so upon first listen at the album, I feel, to be completely honest with you, I feel like the album is out of sequence. That's number 1. I think that I would have changed the order of this album dramatically. I would have put Good Girl, Bad B as the first track on this album. And then I would have probably put Single Again right after that. The reason why is because I feel like the first half of the album, the way it's sequenced now with Unusual through Better on My Own, they all have more of this sort of, I mean, not all of them, but I just kind of think that there's kind of like a mid-tempo feel that doesn't really break until halfway through the album. And I just feel like we could have set this album up in a different way by putting those sort of hard-hitting moments in the beginning and then sort of bringing you moving it down a little bit. I always think about an album like I think about a show, right? And you always start with a closer. If you, I mean, and that's just because I used to DJ. I know a lot of this stuff. Even with fashion shows, you see it. Like I've stated before. You start with a closer, meaning you start this thing off with something huge. Think back to Beyonce's first album and how Crazy in Love was like at the top of that list, right? Then you kind of took it down just a notch. And then you got into these sort of meatier songs that, and I say meat, like meat that you eat. Like they're a bit meatier, they're a bit thicker, they're a bit heavier. You know, you get more into that as you go along and into the album. And this could have been also a tactic to sort of keep you engaged and then surprise you as the album goes along. But for me, I just would have, in terms of statements, basically position this album a bit differently. I'm going to give you my standout tracks. The standout tracks to me are Single Again, Delulu, and I love Good Girl, Bad B. There's a Slide song on here, but it's interesting to me because the Slide song listed on iTunes is listed as Chicago Slide and not Breakup Slide. So I think that they need to fix that. But in terms of the actual singles, I probably would have just waited until the show premiered to premiere the first single, and I would have done either Single Again or Delulu. When you listen, and here's the reason why. When you listen to this album, for me, I feel like they are the more adventurous tracks that also have a very fun groove, right? They're out of the box. Even the Breakup Slide song is out of the box. I feel like they are the ones that I wouldn't expect for someone on a reality TV show to really come with. They, to me, are, again, so outside of the box that they actually work, I think, in real mainstream music. Not that the other ones don't, but I just feel like they are more safe and more expected from someone in the reality TV show space because they are more mid-tempo type songs. And I just think that in order to really stand out, let's do something completely different. Let's give her an up-tempo that some of these other stars who have done reality TV, they're not really doing, right? I think that this would differentiate her quite a bit. And then if she is also dancing in those videos, and again, this I could be biased because I love up-tempo songs, but Single Again has sort of an Afro beats feel to it. The Lulu is just like, I mean, it's super sing along. It's super sing songy. You know what I'm saying? It's something. It's got a hook that is undeniable. And so I'm so excited that they are making this the next single. This is literally the song. This is the song. Okay? If you want to check out the album and you want to listen to a song, this is the single to me. This is it right here. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you like up tempos, mid tempos, slow ballads. Delulu is that song. And I just feel like this is the winner chicken dinner right here, personally. And I'm super excited about it. And I've said super like 85 times in this review. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Drew, her new music, Ralph, Kandi, and Tamar. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video if you like reality TV related content. Be sure to check out all the links in the description down below. We have my new ebook that's out on how to get the best deals in travel, hotels, all of that good stuff. Also, too, be sure to check out the trips that we have coming up. They are listed down in the description down below as well. If you are interested in Cape Town, we're doing some great real estate stuff there in terms of looking and just understanding the process of investing in real estate in South Africa. Big things, safaris, we got wine tours, we got all of that coming with this trip. So be sure to tap into that. And we've got more great trips coming your way. So with that being said, I will catch you in the next video.